Hey guys, welcome back to Storytime with Mr. Isaiah. We are reading Sink or Swim and we're starting chapter 13 today. So if you have not listened to chapters 1 through 12, make sure you go back to those videos and listen to those. Be sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Also, don't hesitate to leave me a comment down in the comments. I love to hear from you guys. It lets me know that you're doing okay and safe and sound. Anyway, I hope you're doing great, and we're just going to jump right into chapter 13 of Sink or Swim. Our job was to escort supply ships from New York down to the Naval Air Station off the tip of Florida in Key West. We had to be on high alert for U-boats lurking around the shipping lanes along the East Coast. Probably the same U-boats that had sunk ships near Okrok, and in sight of all those people in Jacksonville Beach were still out there, along with who knew how many others. There were 3 patrol crafts, including ours, protecting a dozen cargo ships, loaded with weapons, food, vehicles, spare parts, and 100 other things needed to keep a 1,000-man naval base in operation. Destroyers and planes from the Naval Air Station Key West had their own job to do, patrolling the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, in case Germany tried to sneak attack the U.S. Plus, they had to keep their shipping lanes open for oil and other products we needed from South America, going up to the ports in Houston and New Orleans. For the first couple of days, no matter whose watch it was, hardly anybody on our patrol craft slept. I knew I didn't. I couldn't say about Woody because the engine crew kept pretty much to themselves, but from what he had told me, their chief had Woody working himself stupid, doing back-to-back watches. I spent one watch in the sonar room and my next watch in the crow's nest on lookout duty, scanning the Silver Ocean for signs of U-boat activity, until I thought I was going blind. But after those first few days of a whole lot of nothing, no pings on the sonar to indicate submarine activity, no telltale reflections of periscopes poking up out of the waves to take the measure of us or our convoy, it was impossible for our minds not to wander to other things, like how nasty all of our uniforms were getting and how bad everybody smelled after all these days of sweaty days at sea. The captain had given the order that nobody could take a shower. The plan was for the convoy to make the East Coast run without stopping at any of the ports along the way, so we had to reserve our supply of fresh water. Not only that, but we could only brush our teeth twice a week, so everybody was getting pretty ripe. Then, to make matters even worse, the cooks served up beans for dinner 2 nights in a row, and all the fart sacks in the world wouldn't have been any help in containing the gas attack that hits us next. Strobe actually came crawling out through the canvas hatch onto the deck one evening, gagging from the smell and saying he felt like he was going to be sick. I didn't put too much stock in what he said, since he had such a weak stomach and got seasick anytime the ocean got any kind of rough. But then I went below and the stench hit me like a baseball bat, and I turned right back around and crawled out behind him. Finally, Chief Kerr took pity on us and told us to tie up all our dirty uniforms and toss the lines over the stern. The whole crew was in just skivvies and boots and sailor caps, and that was about all while we washed our clothes like that, as they pulled along behind the ship for 15 minutes until Chief ordered us to haul in the lines, and then he had us lay our clothes out all over the deck in the afternoon sun. They dried fast and smelled a lot better, but now everything was stiff and salt encrusted and chafed our sunburned skin There was still the problem of none of us having bathed in a week and stinking to high heaven, as Strobe put it, but at least the cooks quit serving us beans. The officers kept drilling us all the time, day and night, to make sure we were always prepared, and were able to be at general quarters in 25 seconds when we spotted a U-boat. So far, though, there'd still been a whole lot of nothing. The only excitement on the sonar turned out to be a school of dolphins. 2 of the merchant ships miscalculated one of the zigzag turns and nearly rammed each other, but were able to veer away at the last minute. A light rain turned a little bit heavier, and a few guys got seasick, but that passed pretty quick too. And then one afternoon, halfway down the east coast, a couple of miles off the North Carolina shore, I spotted something. I was up in the lookout post, trying not to think about how close we were to Mama and Danny, scanning all around with the binoculars, when a glint of light reflected off something silver and shiny out in the calm ocean. The convoy was plowing along at 12 knots, a little under 15 miles an hour. Fast for us, but the conditions were good. I didn't sound the alarm because I didn't want to be the boy who cried wolf. I scanned back to where I'd just seen the reflection, but now I couldn't find it. I rubbed my eyes and then returned to the binoculars, sweeping back and forth over the quadrant of the ocean. Still nothing. And then, just when I was convinced my mind or my eyes had played a trick on me, I saw it again. A periscope. I sounded the alarm and pointed so the officer of the deck on bridge down below could see it. And the klaxon blared the call to general quarters. Guys scrambled up from below decks to their battle stations, and the pilot swung us away from the convoy to give chase to the U-boat. Meanwhile, whoever was in the sonar room must have located it too, because we had a more precise location, and soon were at 20 knots and then more, racing toward the submarine. I stayed at my post to try and find and maintain visual contact. While below me, the guys were busy turning the guns, loading shells, and preparing to launch depth charges. My heart was pounding so hard I could practically hear it, and I wished I had a weapon, even though there wasn't anything I could do with it from where I was. My weapon was the binoculars and helping locate the enemy. And then we lost the contact. As hard as I tried, I couldn't see anything. No periscope, no nothing. Word came up from the sonar room that there was no pings either, not even faint ones to indicate something large underwater, moving away from us like a U-boat retreating. We searched the area for half an hour to be sure, but still didn't turn up anything. Our signalman and our radio operator had alerted the merchant ships and the other escort vessels, 2 PCs, one flanking the convoy on the starboard side and the other trailing, but they couldn't find anything either. I felt bad and afraid Chief Kerr and Lieutenant Talley would think I was the boy who cried wolf. But that didn't happen. When my watch ended, I climbed down from the crow's nest. Chief told me I'd done a good job. You saw it before sonar picked it up. But we didn't find anything, Chief, I said. Doesn't mean there wasn't something there, he responded. For all you know, we saved a ship today, chased off a U-boat before it could get close enough or have time to aim and fire off a torpedo. Some things you just can't know. But that doesn't mean that you can ever relax, because even if there wasn't something there today, and I'm not convinced there wasn't, there will be something tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that. And it wants to do one thing, and one thing only, and that's to sink this convoy. And that, my friends, is the end of the chapter. We'll start with chapter 14 tomorrow, so if you have not already, make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and be sure and leave me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.